This is written by Margaret Farrell. I'm going to point her out right there. She's resident intern here at the Hadriel Theater. Fantastic. She said to me, well, we're doing a new play festival. Can I send you something? And of course, jokingly, being the jerk that I am, I said, no, don't even waste your time. And then she sent it, and I read it, and I loved it. I'm sure you guys will too, if you haven't already seen it. So, enjoy. I'm going to introduce our cast right now. We have John Schultz. Also reading is going to be William Moore. And Cecile McPhee will be reading tonight. Enjoy the show.
Records and hospital visits. I mean, any bored 12-year-old could find all of that on the internet, like in 5 minutes. You'll have to do better if you expect me to stick around.
Okay. All right. When you were 7, you stole a t-shirt from a girl named Lisa Hannigan, and you were so scared that you would find you out that you buried it in the backyard. You smoked your first cigarette when you were 13, and your last one when you were 21. You tried marijuana for the first time in college and ended up sleeping with a man named... Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have read that one. It's just that we catalog these things up here.
You could have asked people about those. Other people know about those. You probably just asked my friends before I came on.
You cry last Tuesday night. You cry a lot. But you do it in the basement of your building because when the washing machine is on, nobody can hear you. The walls in your apartment are too thin. Your neighbors come to check on you and you don't like it.
Someone could have seen me.
You cry because you think you'll never have a child of your own because Stan left and no one else will ever. You prayed about 2 nights ago. You've been praying a lot lately, going to church. You started with the Lord's Prayer, Miss Wells. You got all the words right this time. Did you have to look them up or did you just remember? And then you said, please God, please don't let me feel like this forever. It hurts all the time. I can't stand the way they look at me. I just...
Stop it!
You asked him to give you someone else, and to her to stand. You've asked for that before. I'm sorry to upset you, Miss Wells, but you wanted proof.
This isn't happening.
It speaks as if without having noticed her.
Stuart, can you finally do something about this, please? I mean, really.
Opens and closes the door quickly several times. As he opens it each time, the lightning and the thunder start again. The same sound and light should be used to show that the noise is repetitive.
It might have worked in the old days, but now it's just annoying, isn't it?
Yes, sir, I know, sir.
Thank you, Stuart. I left the tools in the... You may as well get up now. You look perfectly ridiculous. Her papers, Stuart.
He reaches his hand out expectantly while Stuart gathers up the papers concerning Harry, attempts to organize the stack, and hands it to God. God looks over them as he speaks.
Now, I don't know what Mr. Howard has been telling you, but I'm sure it isn't true. He's not very bright, you know.
How do you have to say that? I very clearly stated in my book...
Stuart, just help this woman up, then go see to the door, will you?
God sits in what was formerly Stuart's chair. Stuart helps Harry up from the floor and into the chair opposite God. He pats her on the shoulder reassuringly. He speaks as he does so.
We didn't actually finish, sir.
I'll finish it, Stuart. You go see to the door.
Yes, sir. She's just a little nervous, so if you...
Yes! Thank you. Go on.
Stuart quickly exits through the door, which makes the thunder and lightning appear again as it opens. Harry is still visibly uncomfortable and for a long time cannot bring herself to look at God.
Oh, you'll have to forgive the door. Used to scare the dickens out of the Hittites, but it's not really necessary anymore. Stuart hasn't got around to fixing it, so,
God positions himself as one might envision Dr. Freud when talking to a patient. He flips through the disorganized pile of papers.
Your name is what, then? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Harriet Wells. Sir. God. Father.
Oh, God will do fine. I always find it a little weird when people call me father. You know, circumstances being what they are. So, have you ever killed anyone?
What?
Killed anyone? Have you? Come on now, it's not a complicated question. A yes or no will do.
No.
You told her.
She read my book. I was allowed to. She read my book. She chose to read my book
With no provocation, I'm sure.
But, sir,
Oh, don't shut up. I think you've said quite enough already.
Sir, I had to. It just wasn't fair what you wanted. At least the other one.
Fair! Oh, Stuart, we will not be having this discussion again. You know why.
No, I don't. Because ever since you started talking about her, you haven't.
And you know why. Nothing else has worked. We don't have much time left. You know that.
You don't have much time left. You don't. We have plenty of time. They've already decided that you...
Not in front of her. We will not do this in front of her.
Do you remember what you said when I first came here? Do you remember what you said?
Yes, I do, and I think you would want to reflect on all of what I said before you speak again.
Bell looks after him until Stuart retreats to his desk and takes a seat. He then turns to Harriet, knowing he has won the argument.
Well then, I suppose we'll drop the pretense. What did he tell you?
Everything.
Oh, I doubt very much Mr. Howard is capable of that. Did you see his first chapter?
Stop it! It's awful the way you talk about him. He's an angel compared to you.
Excuse me?
Will you please just tell me why I am here?
You're here because I gave you life. You're here because I gave you a world in which to live out that life. You're here because I gave you people to know and love in that life. In short, you are here for no reason beyond me and my benevolence. And after I have given you all these things, I ask for only one thing from you.
And what is that?
A mistake.
What?
I need you to make a mistake.
I don't understand.
Of course you don't. Sir, leave.
But, sir...
Now.
Stuart looks briefly to Harriet as if asking for help, but accepts that she can do nothing. He takes his book up into his arms and walks out the door, hurrying past God without looking at him. Harriet is left alone with God. She begins to feel the full weight of standing toe-to-toe with a deity.
A mistake. This way. It's as simple as that.
You brought me up here to tell me to make a mistake for you?
No. You would have done it without my intervention. I only brought you up here to make sure you weren't going to kill yourself. This is a bit of a new thing for me, Harriet, and for a while there you had me worried. You became very depressed after divorce, as I'm sure you remember, and I needed you alive. Your replacement at work would not have made the same mistake as you, and as I've been saying, I need that mistake to occur.
What does my job have to do with any of this? What mistake are you talking about?
You work as an accountant, do you not, for the IRS?
Yes, so...
So what exactly do you do, Miss Wells? If you could simplify it for me.
Well, to simplify it, I work with a group of people who decide we'll get audited. We look into people's previous...
Yeah, that will do, thank you. And what happens to the people whom you decide will be audited?
Well, we send out a representative who reviews their case and meets with them. They go over all of their stuff. The representative sees that they paid everything they should have, or if they didn't.
And what happens if they didn't pay everything they should have?
Well, then they have to pay. But sometimes we find people are doing illegal things, and then we charge them with something, and they usually go to jail. What does that have to do?
I imagine people don't like being audited. That it makes some people angry, even.
Of course. I think next to lawyers, IRS agents are the most loathed people around. We get hate mail all the time, and some of the folks are just awful people.
Especially people who are already distrustful of the government.
I guess.
People with less than sound mental histories.
Well, sometimes, yes.
People with access to firearms.
What do you say?
Let me pose a hypothetical as well.
Okay.
Let's imagine that you were to send an email to one of your many superiors. You do that often, do you not?
Yes.
And in that email, let us say that you make a mistake. A simple misspelling that, as it is moved down the assembly line of your bureaucracy, becomes a file full of paperwork with the name of the wrong man on it. How do people normally respond when you've made a mistake concerning their finances?
We back?
And just a little bit more for our playwright, ladies and So we'll open with, what did you guys like about the show?
Bacon.
Don't wait!
That was good.
I kind of liked how both ends of the argument seemed equally sympathetic. You know, it's so often when someone writes something to portray the God-human dichotomy that you end up with one side being clearly in the right and the other side being clearly in the wrong. I think it ended up very balanced here. And I don't think you could really cast the moral coin in either direction and feel bad about it.
I think one of the most important things to me was actually making God very human, because just I can't see him any other way. I can't see God as some immortal who doesn't care about humanity. So giving God some sense of humanity, making him human, is really important. I'm glad that I think in the final draft it does come through a little bit.
You stuck around. You have to think something. Come on. Anything you guys want to say?
I just think it's so cool to actually see it, and I was trying the whole time not to speak the words. It was driving me insane, but I really love the edits you've made to it, and it's really awesome to actually, not be in it to see it. I can see kind of how cool the play is as a whole, without being kind of in my own head, so I think it's awesome.
Does anybody have any questions, anything that sort of lingered in their head about the show?
When are you going to stage and produce it?
TBA. But the fact that people are enjoying it makes it that much more likely that we're going to do it.
That's your first. I mean, this is a brilliant play out of my view. That was just clever and brilliant. But is this your first play, or have you? What the heck was there?
Thank you. It was my senior thesis in college, so this is the first play I've written.
Why stop?
What are you going to say when Grandma comes to see this?
Or has she already?
No, seriously, like, the way that you made God have so many different, he's kind of a dick. And how, I mean, no offense, you did a great job.
It makes it so much fun.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I've never seen God really portrayed like that.